Did you record?
No, not yet.
All right, welcome to the Targeted Podcast. I'm Nick.
I'm Omar.
And I'm Sahid.
So basically, you know what I mean, the Targeted Podcast, we're going to be covering like a whole bunch of different stuff. So from current events, technology, geeky stuff, sports, whatever's going on. So, tonight we're going to start off with, the COVID-19 story of Omar, since he's like the one person in the group who's actually, gone through getting the virus and actually getting over it. We just felt like this was a good starting point for the whole podcast because it was really relevant to what's going on right now. And honestly, this guy's been a brother to me for a couple of years now. And, I've really been interested in hearing, what he went through and just hearing how he overcame it. And hopefully, it's something that proves to be, it makes you just think about, what's going on out there. It's not a hoax. This is something real. And every time I hear somebody say that the COVID virus is a hoax or it's some bullshit or whatever, I think about Omar and what he had to go through and the fact that he was able to overcome it. So he's just a piece of inspiration for me every day that I get up during this pandemic. So Omar, I'll let you take it from there.
I appreciate that, Nicholas. So, yeah, where to begin? It's funny because I've had to explain this so many times. I practically remember like every minute of it. I've had to re-explain the story to so many different doctors that I've had to see. So I want to start off by saying, though, that in the beginning, when everything got everything got shut down and like quarantine in the U.S., I was one of those people that was watching a lot of videos and, listening to a lot of like different conspiracy theories and stuff about, wondering if it's really legit or not. And, me and my wife and my 5-year-old daughter, like we were really extreme about staying indoors. We didn't go outside at all. I mean, we barely even like went outside to, go down and get the mail. And we were doing that once every like 2 or so weeks at least.
The same way.
Yeah. And, all the groceries we were getting, everything was getting delivered. We had this whole system. Everything would just get wiped down at the door. Plastic bags would get put inside a bucket at the door for 3 days before they can come out, before they can be replaced. I mean, we were hardcore. And then, so I went out once, and that was to the doctor for a checkup for this old back injury I had. And almost like clockwork, 2 weeks later, I got sick. And so pretty much what happened was, I know my body. I'm used to just being active. So when it starts feeling down, like I know it. And when you start feeling sick, you just, your body's fighting something off, even if it's just a little bit. Something's off. Your body's doing something. You feel a little bit more tired. You just feel like that malaise. So I felt like that for a couple of days, and I was like, I took some herbal remedies I usually take at home, and that was like helping out a little bit here and there. And then 3 or 4 days later, I started ending up with like body aches and headaches. And for me, I've always had lots of migraines. So I was like, let me take my usual medicine for migraines. And if those don't work after a day, I know it's something else. And they didn't work. So it got to the point where my chest pain actually started getting really bad too. Like right along like my sternum. And so I was like, if it doesn't go away in the next morning on Monday, I'm just going to go in the ER. So I woke up Monday morning, 6 a.m, and, all lo and behold, the pain was there, just fresh like the previous night. So checked myself in the ER, and this is back in May, and they tested me, and about 2-3 days later, I got my results, and I was positive, and I was just absolutely shocked. I was like, no way. And so I was explaining to them what was going on, and just long story short, because I could probably just spend hours talking about my whole experience, but I was sick probably for a total of about 3.5 weeks. I had the things that were consistent throughout the whole experience was body aches, headaches, and lot of chest pain. The other things are kind of like cycling through. I thought it was really weird. One day I had like a loss of sense of smell and taste. Another day I had like an upset stomach. Another day I had I don't know, man. I don't know, man. It was just so many different things. But I think the weirdest thing about everything, all of that, was the cognitive issues, that how it was effective cognitively and neurologically. Like I was blacking out in the middle of sentences, just like I'm talking to you guys now. I would literally my mind would just shut off, and I'd forget what exactly I was talking about, like completely. And it would be really weird. And I would just sit there, just staring out into space, like really trying to grasp what it was I was talking about. Really weird feeling. Really bad dyslexia, just inability to focus. Clearly, I couldn't multitask. And so I'm actually still, now it's mid-August, and I've been like virus free for it's been like at least 2.5 months now, and I'm still recovering from some other issues. So yeah, I mean, that's it in a nutshell. I saw tons of doctors, cardiologists, primary care doctors, physicians. I've seen I spoke with the county's health department reached out to me. They put together a COVID-19 response team. So they're basically just scientists, and they reached out to me, and so I called them back several times saying, look, I feel like this, I feel like that. Is that normal? And they're like, yeah. I'm going to say one final thing about it and give you guys opportunities to ask any questions you might have. But I never had a fever, and I never got pneumonia. And thank God I especially didn't get the pneumonia, because I'm an asthmatic. That's what I was really worried about. But the problem is, a lot of people will take your temperature, a lot of businesses, to try and see if you're, to judge if, you have the virus or not. And that's such a faulty, what's the best way to put it?
Not foolproof.
Yeah, it's not. A lot of people don't get the fever. And I didn't have a fever. And I could have walked around and no one would have been able to tell I had the virus from what they were saying, the symptoms look like on TV or in the media or whatever. So
that's crazy, because when I go into the office, like I still have to go to the office sometimes every 2 or 3 weeks or whatever. And the first thing they do is, take your temperature and just ask you a couple of questions like, have you been around somebody with the virus? Have you traveled out of state? And I think there's like one other question.
Yeah.
But you're basically saying I could say no to all of those things and still possibly have the virus.
It's a false sense of security, right?
Yeah.
I question the efficacy of those temperature tests anyway, right? They just like beep you on like your wrist or your forehead, and apparently that takes your temperature and you're okay. So I wonder about that. Come again?
I wanted to buy one of those for the kids, like so I could start scanning their forehead too. Much easier than trying to put something in their mouth or whatever,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm always worried, like, before if I know like a business is doing that, I always make sure I'm not like sweating or anything beforehand, because I don't want them to like put me on the spot like, you have coronavirus. In front of a bunch of people.
So it's funny that you say that though, because and we can get to this a little bit later. I've been out a few times to a couple restaurants outdoors, and they take your temperature in, and I was outside sweating for a little bit before I got to the temperature check, and never was bothered. So again,
That's
I don't
weird.
know if those things actually work, or what like maybe they're not looking for an exact temperature, but just a range of things. So like, I don't know the specifics or the mechanics of that. I will say this, Omar, like, I'm happy you're with us, man. Seriously. When this whole thing happened, and I think when in our group chat, like, you're talking about before you got caught, you were kind of saying some things like millions of people are going to like get caught, like millions of people are going to have this. And I thought to myself, like, yeah, this guy's a little paranoid, like a little paranoid. And that was my ignorance saying at the very beginning. I think when you come across something that you don't understand, you try to rationalize it, right? Yeah. A lot of people at the very beginning, even I thought like it's probably like the flu, right? Just what they were describing. And I think what people didn't understand and what I came to understand was that there was just so much that we didn't know, right? There's so much that we didn't know about this. And like when you caught it, and I know how cautious you are, I know how careful you are. You're a married man, you have a beautiful child. Like I was scared for my friend, right? When you said that you had the neurological problems, you had an enlarged heart, you had respiratory problems, I was like, or inflamed heart and respiratory problems. I was like, man, I'm really like concerned. And when you caught it and when you're recovering from it, that was when things were starting to open up, right? Gyms are starting to open up, stores are starting to open up. And I think I remember I had a friend reach out to me and was like, hey, you're going to come back? I'm going to see you at the gym. And I have a couple of reasons why I slowed down going back to the gym. But I remember like people reaching out to me and saying, hey, are you coming back to the gym? Are you coming back? And I thought of you. And I'll say like, that would be irresponsible of me, right? To go back when I know like a friend is suffering. And it's not about me, right? Because as you said earlier, like you didn't have a temperature, right? You didn't have pneumonia, you didn't have like any coughing symptoms, but you can be asymptomatic and you can pass it off to someone that you care about or that you don't know, right? And I think that's what people need to be concerned about. Unfortunately, people are caring less now, right? I've talked to a couple of friends, they're just like, you know what, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Let's go out, December time.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have just kind of accepted it in, in the US and, especially in the US, they're just, the problem is with us, and I don't want to get into a whole nother topic, but, the problem is that, COVID's become a partisan issue. And that's what's really sad. And you can't imagine how many people actually reached out to me, like on Facebook and text and stuff. After I went public about my experience on a public Facebook post, a lot of people messaged me like, wow, you're the first person I know, like that I actually know that got it, that got the virus. And, a lot of people ask me questions and stuff. And, even like the scientists and stuff, the doctors that I spoke with, they're all like, yeah, unfortunately, you got the, the short end of the stick. And I did have a little bit of a cough, by the way. I forgot it was a little bit of like a dry cough here and there. But like I said, like I could have walked out to the grocery store. I wasn't able to because I was in so much body pain. It was like a 50-pound dumbbell just sitting on my chest. That's what the pain felt like. But if it wasn't for that, no one would have been able to tell. And there's just everyone just, they don't care because they can't see it. They feel like it just doesn't exist, or, they start pulling up, and I'm comparing it to like the regular seasonal flu. And they're like, well, there's, percentage wise, there's more deaths. And they start talking about other viruses and Ebola and this and that. It's like, look, the difference is like scientists have known about those viruses, right? And Ebola doesn't spread as fast either. This is like, the gestation period for this is what makes it really dangerous. And there's no vaccines, nothing right now.
And the fact that it could be asymptomatic. And
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Right? I mean, it's so funny as you mentioned, like people trying to relate it to the flu. The thing about, so I was just reading about this before I came on, and I'll send you all my references. Like, so there's a thing where they rate contagiousness of a disease by something called R0 value, right? And so the flu R0 value is like less than like 2, right?
Yeah, I think I saw something like this.
Yeah, and that means like you can pass it to like a certain amount of people by like a constant value of like 1 or 2, right? No more than 2. The R0 value for COVID was considered to be like a 2.2 to 2.7, but that jumped up to 5.7, right? And that means that's more contagious than the flu. And keep in mind, there's no over-the-counter medicine for COVID, right? There's over-the-counter medicine for the flu, right? There's no over-the-counter medicine for COVID. And just some of the things that I see, like where people are like, oh, only 1% of the population is dying or whatnot. 1% of the U.S. population, that's 3 million people. 3 million people. That's more than a lot of wars. It's more than the 9/11 tragedies that happened. That's a lot of death, right? So and the death rate for COVID is actually around 3%. So that's actually more than 3 million people that
That's
is
crazy.
scheduled to die. So
Yeah, and I want to touch on something that you just said too, actually, or not something you said, but something that's kind of leading into this point is, this whole concept of herd immunity, and like our wonderful POTUS, bless his heart. Um,
that's
you know,
the ultimate diss for a Southerner right there. Oh, bless your heart.
Yeah,
Oh, bless your heart.
See, I'm from Jersey. I've been in Virginia too long.
That's the ultimate. That's the passive aggressive way to flip somebody off right there.
But it's crazy because like this whole idea of just expose everyone and they'll develop an immunity. Like I got an immunity test and I have antibodies, but even the doctors told me, they're like, yeah, you have it, but number one, we don't know if those antibodies necessarily work, and number two, like it's spreading so quickly that it's going to mutate a lot quicker. It keeps mutating, and so there have been actually documented cases of people getting reinfected 45 days later after already getting sick.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So
that's the thing.
Herd immunity is not a thing.
We don't know. We don't know.
We don't.
So it's so funny that you talk about herd immunity. So I've seen your Facebook where you have some characters, so that's why.
Yeah.
And one of the things that comes up is Sweden, right? So when countries started locking down, right, Sweden was one of the few European countries that didn't do the whole social distancing lockdown like the other European countries have as well. And they're trying to go for herd immunity. And herd immunity is a thing, right? But not in the way that people think of it as, right? So Sweden, they did lockdown, right? And their numbers are starting to become down, right? But their rates are just the same rates as all the other people that's locked down. So the UK, Belgium, other EU states, or other EU countries, that locked down, their numbers are just about the same. And more so, their economy is not that much better, and they have way more deaths. And they still didn't get the right amount of population to be infected so they can have herd immunity, right? So you need about 80% of the population to be herd immunity, to have herd immunity. And they don't have that. So they're just as likely to have a second outbreak like the rest of the countries. And people just keep going towards Sweden, like, oh, look at Sweden. And I'm like, that's an outlier case. Look at Florida. Look at Texas. Look at California. Like, they're all messed up right now. So
honestly, we should have did what New Zealand did. I don't know if you've been reading some of the articles about them, but as soon as they heard about the virus and what was going on, like they were like lockdown, quarantine. They got it down to, they were able to isolate where the cases were. And, once those people left quarantine, it was like they were, I think, 100 and some days without a case. And then I think it just came back like a few days ago or whatever. But
it just came back.
Yeah, literally just been a couple days.
Yeah. It's so funny you said that because I just read that they are actually delaying their election back a month because of that, right? But, that's just good leadership on their part, right? We don't have that kind of leadership here. Like we can't get people to wear a mask because that's infringing on people's freedoms.
Again,
like
unfortunately, a mask has become a partisan issue.
A mask.
Yeah.
Really.
And it's crazy how this whole situation is literally like a replication of what happened 102 years ago now, the 1918 Spanish flu in the U.S. Even back then, I remember reading several articles where, Americans were complaining about being forced to wear masks back then. It's crazy. I think
it just shows how privileged we are. It shows how privileged we are. These people have either run out of things to complain about that you're complaining about a mask. Seriously. And I do get some of the people, their concern, right? Because let's face it, the reason why we're in this mess is because we've had bad leadership. It's just plain and simple. We just had bad leadership. And there are a lot of business owners are being affected by this. And when you have little, right, you're just willing to kind of accept whatever information that tells you that it's not true, right?
Yeah,
So
like
then
you guys know, I have started to cut you off just really quick. You guys know I have a business, right? Like on the side as well. Like my martial arts school, I had to cancel my kids program a month ago because of my health issues, and I just couldn't keep up with it anymore.
yeah, and yeah, a lot of people, they're suffering through that, and there's a certain sect of our political spectrum that is taking advantage of that and trying to just use that as an excuse to not be leaders and not care for people, right? Like this pandemic is going to end. The question is, how many dead people are we going to lose? How many people are we going to lose, right? Or how many dead people are we going to have until this is over, right?
Yeah, how many dead people will it take? But the problem is, it's not. I think it's more of a question of how many of the quote unquote right people will it take, to die for it to change.
Yeah, I mean, so I was looking at this right before our call. Go ahead, Nicholas.
No, I was just saying, I think that's what it is. Like, because you see how they have all these studies about how the coronavirus is affecting like the Black community, minority communities, the death rate, et cetera, et cetera. And like it's a thing that's horrible, but that hasn't stopped the discussion or the push for, hey, like send the kids back to school.
Yeah.
Open the jobs. Let's go back to the movies, everybody. Like, let's restart the economy because that's so important. Like, it's just.
But the thing is, the economy goes down once every 10 years, right? Like, you can, the economy is going to recover. You can't bring someone back to life, right? How many people die that don't have to die, right? Herman Cain died. He didn't have to die. Like, he didn't have to, right? But this is a guy who chose to go to a Trump rally with no mask. And this guy was a cancer survivor. He survived cancer, like in 2006. So it just bothers me that the guy just didn't care enough, right? He survived cancer. He had a 30% chance of surviving cancer, and he survived it in 2006. You think he would value life a little bit more, but he was like, nope. I'm going to this rally, no mask.
And I can tell you, I know multiple people, obviously I'm not going to name them, I know multiple people in person that have gotten sick, and they were so shocked. And mind you, it was these same people, unlike me, they were just really, really liberal about just going out everywhere. And, and that's unfortunately what it takes for people, here to realize.
Yeah. I will say this. So I was looking at something right before. There's something called the infographic show on YouTube. It's great information. So I saw my two main resources about this COVID: the infographics show, and there's something called "It's Okay to Be Smart." So, and they talked about how this pandemic is going to end, and one of them is a medical ending, right? Meaning that enough people is going to get infected. Pretty much there's going to be no people to get sick anymore, right? Either through vaccination or herd immunity, right? Where just there's no one to get sick anymore. The second one is a social ending, right? Where just people just stop caring, right? And that kind of happened with the Spanish flu.
Yeah.
But this like is happening now, right? So, like as we said, things are opening up again, and I think people are just wanting to live with it. So
let me ask you this, right? So we're in the middle of a pandemic. Everybody's like probably getting their groceries delivered, everything delivered. Amazon's making buku money right now off of everything. Everybody's hearing from their job about how long they're going to be able to telework, all that good stuff. I think hopefully I'm until the end of the year. I think I heard a little something. But what do you think life is going to be like after the pandemic? Like for me personally, I'm hoping that more companies come to the realization that, the office space isn't as necessary as they thought it was, right? I really think that, most of our work can be done virtually, unless you're working on some sort of like closed network, or, there's something where like, hey, like, just being on the phone isn't really going to cut it. Like you really need to be in a room for several hours to figure something out. But I'm really hoping that, businesses start to understand that, like, hey, like we can work virtually, and then at the same time, like they need to, come to the realization that, as far as like balancing, work life against family life. Before the pandemic, it was all about your job, and hey, you get your 2 weeks here, you get your 6 weeks for short-term disability once you've had a kid. But for the most part, it's like, hey, like your job comes first, and then however you deal like with your family life is secondary, right? So I'm hoping that after the pandemic, now that we've had several months to live kind of like as a virtual society, that I'm hoping that some of these companies will understand that, hey, like if I'm home with the kids, like I need to give my employees some way to deal with family life and work life. Like for me personally, yes, I dial into work every day at like 8:30, and I try to keep up with the emails and everything, but at the same time, like, I've got the kids at home. They're very needy, right? And if there's something that I need to figure out for work, that's not going to happen until they're in bed. You know what I'm saying? So it's been plenty of nights. I'm up till 1-2 o'clock in the morning because my job isn't just answering emails and responding to stuff. You need to solve this problem, but I can't solve that problem if I don't have time to think about it. You know what I mean? So I'm really thinking that, like, after the pandemic, I'm really thinking that some companies are going to find a way to kind of re-engineer their work-life balance paradigms and whatnot. So I'll be curious to see like how y'all feel about that.
Yeah, I really enjoy working from home. Like the first couple months.
I am not surprised.
No, look,
says the guy with the workspace in the hotel room.
Don't hate me. Hey, if this overly priced chair, which is a great chair by the way.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean hotel room. I meant the hoteling space back in our office.
No, I think you have it right. It looks like a Residence Inn.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, no, I really enjoy working from home. So it's so interesting because I had a former manager. They were telling me how, because we used to have like a work from home on Fridays, and this manager was like, "Yeah, I really like it when like they were passively aggressively trying to get us to come to the office on Fridays, and we just didn't want to do it. It was so annoying." And this person was like, "Yeah, I think we should be in the office on Fridays." Because I just think we're more effective. And this manager's not like with the company anymore, but I kind of want to tell a person like, I'm calling in your BS right now because we've been effective for what, 4 months now?
It's crazy, man.
Yeah, on 4 months now, it's annoying.
It just goes back to that same point that people just don't understand. Like they're just really ignorant. I understand that a lot of people don't know a lot about the virus. Like even the scientists don't, right? Yes, they're learning more. They're making a lot of progress. The whole world is working out together. But at the end of the day, like if you don't know, just stay on the safe side. Why is there such a big rush to risk, to force your employees to risk their lives?
Yeah.
It's literally a life or death matter.
I really think like, people aren't going to care until it affects them personally. Like,
Exactly.
For me, it honestly became a thing when I heard, that you had it. Or some other folks that I know have it. Like it was like it's not a game. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it was great. It was great working from home for a little while, but then you heard that your boy got it or your homegirl got it or whatever, and it was like, okay, well, yeah, it's not funny anymore. It's not.
Well, I'm glad that there's some positivity that came out of me getting it. At least that experience others can benefit from. But as far as it not being a game, I think that might be a topic for our buddy Sahid here, our bachelor buddy, about how some of it's a game.
Oh my God.
Actually, hold on. Let's get back to it. Let's finish a little bit more on this topic first.
Well, okay. I did want to say something though, because you guys misunderstood me. This is before the pandemic, right? Someone was trying to get us to work,
Oh, okay.
like come to the office more often because we had designated work from home days, and like that advice or that concern of that person's did not age well, considering we've been working from home for 4 months now. We're effective, right?
Yeah.
So like, imagine like a manager trying to be passive aggressive about us trying to work on coming in the office more often. And this is before the pandemic. To come in the office on like our Fridays, our scheduled work from home day. So us working from home 5 days a week and just being as effective, right? So that's the thing. I did read an article saying that the modern office is dead, and that this is probably going to be our new reality. And I think I was telling some of my managers, like, look, I really like working from home. Like, even if we do go back in the office, I'm going to have to work out some schedule where I'm working from home 3 days a week, at least minimum 2-3 days a week I'm working from home, because this is actually nice. It's nice to kind of be home and not put on clothes.
All right, TMI. Please do
You're
not let that
welcome.
camera drop in
You're
your,
welcome.
please.
Do you want to know if I have on pants right now?
No, all right. This is where I hit stop recording.
No, but yeah, no, I like rolling out of bed. I have a later start than you guys. I get out of bed like around 9. And
Why am I not surprised? Why am I not surprised?
Great. Like I used to work out at like 5:30 a.m. because that's like the best time to work out, right? Now I don't really do that anymore, right? I can get my 8 hours of sleep and work, and I'm flexible enough where if I wanted to go to a gym class, I can do that like sometime in the afternoon. I can say, hey guys, I'm off for an hour and a half. Do that, come back. The problem though, unfortunately, is that sometimes you can't turn off the laptop. Or you can't just power down. And I see myself working past 7, 8, even longer often.
Yeah, that's been me.
Right? So that's something that I still have to kind of figure out. That's kind of hard to figure out. So
I think that's a good segue, right? So real quick before we move on to the next thing, what's some things some positive things that you got out of the pandemic, and what's some negative things that you've gotten from the pandemic?
Yeah, that's a good question, actually. So for me, obviously bad things, we just spoke about one, right? The whole point of the pandemic. So the other thing was, it affected my side business, right? My martial arts school. And then obviously, mental health's become a really big issue with a lot of people, if not most people, right? Just being stuck at home, and it looks like he's got something. He's got bottled up. Oh, I'm curious. I'm going to make this quick because I want to hear what he has to say now. But I think the positive thing is being family time. I remember before quarantine, between like my school and my job, my daughter would, I'd come home, and, sometimes I would come home and, she'd already be asleep. And so, her and I are really attached. So, if I don't get to see her for a day, I'm like pretty depressed about it. So, but so is she. So being at home all the time is just like, two really good things. One, the family time, and I'm always around my daughter now. Number two is it was a good excuse for me able to build like this really nice home office setup with like all this extra, turn into like a gaming workstation. But it's my home office. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have been able to pull that off with my wife's permission, for the lack of a better word.
Well, I think we could tell with the home office piece since your bed is in it.
Yeah, the downside is I had to put it in the bedroom.
I love how you said that, knowing that your wife's going to be watching this later.
Potentially.
This is what I was going to say. With my wife's permission, thank you, honey, for letting me have this station. Thank you, honey. there, buddy? What you
Oh, you
scratching
know,
there?
just my eye. I felt it twitching a
Oh,
little
really?
bit.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
I want to hear what you had to say. You were giggling.
I don't. I just
Nope, nope, nope. You can't do that on camera and then just.
no. I mean, I giggle at weird times. Nicholas knows this. But no, what do I like? So like you, I got to build this like really nice workstation um, that I probably wouldn't have bought without this. I get to stay home more often. I don't have to travel an hour to work. Well, more like 45 minutes. Like I bought gas like maybe 4 or 5, no, maybe like 7 or 8 times this year at most when I usually
This
buy gas
year.
every month. Yeah. Like if that much, like
That's
surprising
because
how
you
much
also
money
get like 80 miles a gallon.
my car 80 miles, please. Yeah. No, so that's like the fun stuff. Like the down stuff is like I mentioned earlier, sometimes work can be a pain, right? Being able to like turn off and just decompress. Like my work is here, right? So, and it's sometimes we have I'm on call and things happen like late in the night and I have to respond to it, and it's hard to like really truly disconnect. So one thing I do miss is like being able to leave work at work
Yeah.
and then leave the gym at the gym and leave here. When I'm at home, like everything's connected. I have like dumbbells and kettlebells now to work out from home more often, and it's hard to kind of mix the
No,
two.
you said it. It's hard to disconnect, and that's the
It
same
definitely
exact issue I've been having. Like I'll literally just, as soon as I'm done, I'll be working till 7. Like my wife can attest to this. When I'm done working by 6:20, 6:30, I'm happy. I come out and I'm like, damn, got a lot of time left in the evening now, and then so I'll usually work up to like 7 or 8 o'clock, or sometimes just take a break at 7 and then log back on at like 11 o'clock to do something else before going to bed. But yeah, I mean, I can't disconnect. That's my issue. It's been tough.
yeah, absolutely.
So
Right,
I
Nicholas?
think,
Yeah, for me, I think the good things have been like Omar was saying, like the family time. You know what I mean? And I think I talked about this when I was working with y'all, just like the whole like taking time to meditate and having that time to myself. Now that we're being at home and everything, like I have like a little more time to try to concentrate on those types of things. Um, and then like it's in physical fitness as well. Like I feel like I've done better working out here from home than I was doing at the gym. But I think that's just because of the fact that like I didn't have the equipment that I had available to me that I had at the gym, so I had to find like different things to do. So I did like a lot more cardio and things of that nature. So I was able to drop a few pounds. Um, and then like the bad stuff, like Sahi was saying, like not being able to unplug. Like I've definitely had my nights where I was up to 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning doing work, which it's definitely something that's getting old. You know what I'm saying? So, um, but yeah, it's good and bad. I've definitely saved a whole lot of money. Like I'm doing everything I
Oh,
can
God. Yeah.
to keep the kids out of daycare.
yeah.
Yeah.
Child care for 2 kids. I mean, it's like having a whole separate.
Got losing your audio.
Oh, my fault. Yeah, not paying for 2 houses definitely been very helpful. So
Yeah. Nicholas, I love how you put the humble brag in there. It's like, yeah, I've been working out, lost a few pounds.
yeah, I mean,
Humble brag.
hey, I'm feeling good, man. Feeling good.
I
Yeah,
don't
it's
blame you.
it's too bad he
I
didn't invest in any lessons in beard trimming.
yeah, he clippers in this.
Well, look, I mean,
Right up.
that's something else, man. Because I'm like, I was faithful, like the barber, like every other week or whatever, pretty much. And then it was like I went and got my hair grew out like all crazy for a couple months, and then I went and got a haircut once things kind of sort of like lightened up a little bit, and then it was like, well, what's the point? Like, I'm not going anywhere. Like, why do you even get my hair cut? I should just let it keep growing. Maybe, done something else with it. That'll probably be the last haircut I get for a while.
Unlike our buddy Sahid here.
Hey, don't hate me.
That looks fresh. Like that looks like he literally just wrapped up getting that haircut right before this video.
Huh? No. No. I actually drove out to Maryland to get this haircut because my barber, he's actually renovating a shop, and I forgot where in Maryland. It's like I think by FedEx Field. This is where he said he lived. I drove out there. It's about maybe 45 minutes. Just to
Wow,
get a
you
haircut.
actually drove 40 minutes somewhere.
35 minutes, yeah.
Wow.
I mean,
the world really has changed.
I heard I was going to be on the internet for something, so I decided to get a haircut.
So you knew this guy? Like, was this a referral? Like, you knew this dude, or like?
Oh no, this is my same barber, right? So this is a guy that I've been going to for a couple of years. He's great. He's from Panama. Obviously, got to support Black-owned businesses, right? And this guy is just a great barber, great dude, great person, great human. So definitely don't mind driving out there to support him and get him a haircut. So I just pretty much got, instead of going into DC, because he has a place by Howard, but like I said, that place is being renovated, right? So he's just he's cutting hair from his home, essentially. Granted, I did drive out to his home, and he's doing pretty well for himself. So, but still, always happy to support Black-owned businesses and whatnot. So, yeah.
So can we also get into the other potential reason why Sahid's always got nice haircuts throughout this quarantine?
Always? Always is a false statement.
And anytime I've seen you on video, the few times in this quarantine.
That's a false statement. That's fake news.
I don't
know. I see the twinkle in your guys' eyes, right? I see the twinkle in your eyes. You guys,
all right, so
we'll talk about this topic. You try to chew and avoid it earlier. We'll talk about it now.
For everyone's awareness, for everyone that's watching this, so myself and Nicholas, we're married, and we live. Let's just say we like to hear our bachelor buddy Sahid's stories about his bachelor escapades. We'll just keep it that way.
You like to live vicariously through me. That's what you like to do, right?
I almost said that, but then I didn't.
Now that life is pretty much dead, I'm trying to figure out how you survive.
I hope your wives are listening to this right now.
I've been married for almost 10 years. Nicholas, how long have you been married?
It'll be 5 years in September.
All right, so at least 5 years between the both of us that we've been out of the game, right? At least 5. So you, my friend, our friend, we have no idea what the scene is like anymore.
Okay.
So,
phone calls.
If you care to share?
Okay.
Especially during this quarantine, how it's been different.
I will care to share, and as I've told you guys before, and I'll tell you guys now, right? You may be expecting HBO Max, getting Disney Plus. I'm just saying how we're doing this. Okay? You may be expecting Penthouse magazine. You're gonna get Magic School Bus, right? You're gonna get some PBS.
Look, calm down there, Michigan.
Oh my God. You guys are enjoying this way too much.
No, what are you talking about? We're just taking this pandemic very seriously.
Oh God. This is weird. You guys are weird.
Please go on.
Hand sanitizer, really? No, so where do I start? Like, I also want to point out, as being the single guy in front of a group of like people who are married or in long-term relationship, you're always asked this question, right? Just even if there wasn't any pandemic, right? How was the dating life, right? I can tell you that I've been on a date and found the meaning of life, right? Like someone told me the meaning of life. I was on a date and someone told me the meaning of life, and someone will hear that and respond, "Oh, you went on a date?" That's how people respond to that. Like they hear date, nothing else afterwards, right?
Eliza,
Well, you're cutting out. What was that?
I said we're boring. We have nothing to look forward to right now.
Right.
I want to hear everything.
I will give the people what they need, right?
So just to give you an idea, maybe some things that we can get into, Sahid, is like how has it been different since the lockdown, since quarantine?
Yeah.
You know, what do you think has been going well? What do you think's been harder? Yeah, let's keep that rated G or Disney. And yeah, let's just take it from there.
No, yeah. So I'll let you know, I've always tried to be more mature about this, especially during the lockdown. There are people out there that even when the lockdowns were happening, they were going out and still acting as if like it was the same. So the I don't do that. The people that I tend to be attracted to, the women I tend to be attracted to, don't do that as well, right? So during the lockdown, definitely had to get creative, right? Because you're not going out. One of the things that I did was definitely a lot of video chats. I did. Have you guys heard of Netflix Party?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I did that once. Nicholas, what are you laughing about? What are you laughing about Netflix Party? I did a Netflix party. I've done Netflix parties.
Wait, with how many people?
Oh God. Okay, so
Serious question. How many people? If you said a
no,
party.
yeah. So well, it's called Netflix Party, and I have done that with groups of people, and I've done that for dates as well. So
So you're saying they're not the same?
I don't know where this question's going. Where are you going with this question?
Well, you said groups of people, and then you said for dates.
Okay, let's talk about the dates aspect. So your mind doesn't go totally in the gutter. So in terms of dating, so yeah, I've used Netflix app to date, and just have some semblance of like just interacting with somebody while and Netflix Party was just one of those tools of doing that. A lot of video chats. One thing that I did during dating is as the restrictions like started to ease, I went on a date where it was socially distanced. Right, we had a picnic and we kind of stayed on opposite ends of the opposite ends of like the picnic like
Picnic blanket?
blanket. Yeah,
Okay.
that's the word.
Aww.
God. Yeah, I expect that from my female friends. I didn't expect that from you, Omar. But or did I? Or did I?
That's so cute.
Yeah, I got that a lot. So yeah, so that happened.
Wait, did you have like a picnic basket too?
No.
I'm just wondering.
Well, hopefully we don't see each other without masks, right? I mean, hopefully.
Yeah, no, we did. Well, that's just a requirement. Yeah, but it was a very awkward like time, right? So of what to do, what's not to do, what's okay, what's not to be okay. You want to be responsible, right? I tend to be responsible. Think about my buddy Omar, right, who got COVID, right? So I definitely don't want to be part of the reason why it's spreading. So yeah, those are some of the things that I had to do. One thing that's happening too in the city as well is that people are leaving, right? So DC is a very transient city.
Sorry, do you mean like moving out or just like leaving temporarily for?
So I think a lot of people are moving out and possibly leaving temporarily. Like we don't know. We honestly don't know. It depends on how long we're working from home, or if we're working from home becomes more of a thing, right? And there's no point in moving to DC.
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
So I know a couple of people who have moved out of DC, right? And that's also a thing, right? There's no point in being in DC. DC is awesome during the summer, right? So many festivals, jazz fest, all sorts of music festivals that you just don't get anymore. And a lot of people have moved away. So that's one thing that has happened, right? So there's that. I still have been able to go out on a couple of dinner dates, right? So that's been cool. Social distancing very strict at some of these restaurants. I think that's good to hear. But as we talked about earlier, right, that's can be performative, right? We don't know how effective some of those things are. And I think what a lot of people don't understand is that like when you're going out, you're still risking some level of transmission, right? But not it's not it's not as foolproof as staying in your home, right? And it's important that so you just to understand that, right? Going out, there is some risk, but not so much anymore. Did your internet go out, Nicholas, or the
Yeah,
kid come
some bills. Yeah.
in?
Ah, you beat me to it. Just about to say
Yeah, I'm just waiting for one of your kids. I love how he was flipping off the camera. He has
Right?
like
Hey, screw you guys.
That's so funny.
I like the zoom out effect this time.
Yeah, there he is. So can you see it now? Can you see it now? I'm
I think
waiting.
this is his first time using his webcam.
You know what? I mean, really never had a reason to use the camera on my tablet before now. So yeah.
Lucky you.
Yeah. I'm waiting for either your wife or your kid to come in and like just take the tablet from you.
Well, that just happened to me right now. And then the door is closed. I just got a weird look like that.
So Omar, it's almost Omar's curfew, so I might have to continue just me here for a while.
Oh my god.
All right. So what's been working well for you, Saheed, and what's been a lot tougher?
Well, obviously the haircuts.
What's
I
up?
didn't hear you.
Obviously the haircuts, right?
I think that's funny.
I mean, it is kind of funny that Nicholas is the one saying it.
No.
I think Nicholas is hating right now. Nicholas is hating. I'm okay with it, you know. No, what's been working for me? Well, I'll just tell you right now, like the city is opening up, and I think as you mentioned earlier, people are just getting irritable, right? They just don't care anymore, right?
You said they're getting what? Irritable?
Irritable, right? Like I think from just a lot of my just colleagues in general, right? They're just like, you know what? Like we've lived with this for 4 months. I think they're okay with like the results that's happening, and yeah, cities are just opening up slowly, and like that's kind of how that is. So I think going forward, I mean, the unfortunate thing is that DC is not going to have a whole lot of like events. Like one of my favorite things about DC is Jazz Fest or the Jazz in the Garden, excuse me, right? And like sucks I don't get to go to that anymore, right? Or like H Street Festival, which is also a cool thing, or things on the wharf, right? So I don't get to do any of that kind of stuff anymore. So that's kind of the thing. Yeah, there are people leaving, but I think dating now is just kind of is slowly coming back just for a lot of people, just because people were just tired. They just don't want to stay stuck in the house all the time.
So it sounds like you really don't have just like the opportunity to meet people really, unless it's through some like predetermined call of some sort, right? Where you
Well, that was the case now. Then, when the restrictions were much more stringent, but now I think it's a little bit more. It's definitely a little bit more open, right? So, like you have to plan better, for sure, right? A lot of restaurants they don't. I prefer to make a reservation. A lot of restaurants have stopped doing that, right? Just because of the situation. Restaurants close earlier now. Um, when I go out, I always do outdoor seating. Like I'm not screwing around with that.
Yeah.
Like, got to be outdoors, right? I love going to the movies. Those are shut down, right? And we don't know when those are coming back up. I think
Hey, I
sometime.
just saw AMC advertising, or someone, my friend mentioned it, that AMC was advertising 11-cent movie tickets. I think it was 11 cents.
11 cents. Oh wow.
Yep. Like they're getting desperate.
11 cents. Are they open?
Let me look this up. AMC.
That's crazy.
He's about to take somebody to the movies.
That's what I'm saying. I guess I risk COVID for 11 cents, right?
Right.
No, that's nuts. No, but like, yeah, I think people are moving on. Like, have you guys heard about Mulan? Like, it's coming on Disney Plus for
Yeah. It's like $10 or something.
no, $35
Are you serious?
on Disney Plus. Absolutely, yes.
I read it was like $10.
Read again, man.
But you know what though? Honestly, like I would do it. I think that makes sense. I see a lot of people, I saw a lot of people complaining about the price. I thought it was $10. They were complaining about it. And like, yeah, I'm just gonna like, you know, would like stream it from somewhere, download off like BitTorrent or something. People are just, talking about doing it the cheap way. But it's like, we're all in this together. We have to support each other's businesses, right? So anyway, sorry, I don't want to go off topic, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I might not pay all that money for Mulan, but maybe for the Zack Snyder version of Justice League.
Oh God.
Tempting. Trying not to go there.
That's gonna be a topic for another day for sure.
Yeah, definitely our next one. But I will say this: Nicholas is like that desperate guy that keeps trying to go back with a girlfriend that screwed him over, and he knows how she is, and he keeps running back to her, and she keeps screwing him over. That's DC.
All right.
That's DC movies.
DC movies. Sorry, you're right. DC movies. So kind of jumping back to the whole COVID dating life topic, Nicholas and I tried to convince Sahid to share some more detailed accounts of his experiences, and unfortunately, we couldn't meet that middle ground there. So we're what's that?
Have you been catfished yet?
I've been catfished. That's a great question.
That's a legitimate question in this age, man.
Huh?
I said that's a legitimate question in this age.
No, that's a fair question. I haven't been catfished. I have been on a date where someone posted a really old photo of themselves, and it don't look like that anymore. So that happens.
Yeah, that's weird.
That happens.
That's
right?
weird.
Right, I'm sure it's a pain in the ass to like update photos on like.
So how long did it last before you left? You don't have to give us any details. I just want to know how long.
I'm a nice guy. I'm usually when I'm there, I just want to drink, eat some food. I was hungry, and then just leave. So like maybe an hour.
Damn.
An hour. I'm not so much of an ass enough where I'll just walk in and just walk out on someone.
You're a nice guy. Oh, you're a nice guy. I was about to say
30
minutes.
Huh?
I was about to ask if you gave her more than 30 minutes or not.
Yeah. Usually, shortest takes about an hour. So Yeah, I'm not so much of an a-hole where I'll be like, oh, nope, and just walk away. I usually will at least try to talk.
All right, I'm impressed. All right. So, any ladies watching this, this gentleman right here, he is single as far as we know. So he will treat you right. And if you want his personal information, just shoot me a message, and I'll give it to you, even if he doesn't want me to.
I gotta say, good luck. Hopefully, the drought doesn't last too long. You know what I mean?
All right, I have one final question for you, Sahid. What would be one piece of advice that you would give other people out there that are trying to,
Find love.
I don't want to say trying to date, but that are open to it during this whole lockdown? For people that are struggling with it? Because I know personally there's, some people talk to me, just share some of their experiences and stuff. So hopefully they're going to be watching this. But you, the
besides
bachelor,
cocoa butter.
Besides,
you see,
besides,
Nicholas is trying to get HBO Max right now, and I'm telling you, this is going to be Disney Plus.
So besides cocoa butter and besides Michigan, what's some advice?
So guys, trying to get HBO Max, you're getting Disney Plus. I'm just saying. And what was the question? The question was, what's advice?
Give some advice to any of the other viewers that have I guess go through like a successful either in-person date or virtual date through the quarantine.
I mean, I would say if you want to do a virtual date, make sure your internet is paid up. Make sure you have good connection.
Nicholas.
Okay, I'll say one other piece of advice. Try to get creative. Get creative. That's the only thing I can think of. I mean, look, again, pandemics, the restrictions are coming down, so things are moving back to normal. But yeah, definitely get creative, right? There was one instance when I was on a date and I did a Netflix party, because Netflix party is typing only, there's no video, right? Your video is your Netflix, right? So I did a Netflix party and I did a Google Hangouts right beside it. And that didn't go out so well because like there was a lag in like the internet speeds. So I can hear like the movie playing on my end and then the movie playing on the other end as well. Like
that sucks.
Like a 5-second delay. But that was like me getting creative, right? So little things like that can go a long way. All right, guys. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.
That's what she said. I had to before we cut out the video. I didn't do it once.